Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy your concert and the time you're there.
When people hear the name Johnny Depp, most people immediately think of movies. Captain Jack Sparrow, Edward Scissorhands, Sweeney Todd, Willy Wonka. But there's another side of Johnny Depp that has been quietly developing for decades: the artist. Long before his artwork began appearing in major exhibitions, Depp was already drawing and painting privately. According to Schloss Benrath, Depp kept much of his artwork within private circles for many years before deciding to present his work publicly in 2022. And when that finally happened, the response was enormous. His debut collection, Friends and Heroes, sold out worldwide within hours, according to the exhibition organizers. That changed something. Suddenly, the world wasn't looking at Johnny Depp only as an actor. People were beginning to see him as a visual artist. And now, in 2026, that side of his career is becoming even bigger. Because on August 30th, Johnny Depp's art is coming to one of Germany's most striking historical locations, Schloss Benrath in Dusseldorf. The exhibition is called The Art of Johnny Depp, and it will run from August 30th through September 27th, 2026. But this isn't simply a celebrity exhibition. The organizers describe it as a presentation of Depp's artistic vision, featuring original artworks and selected editions. And there's another detail that makes the exhibition especially interesting. Johnny Depp himself is scheduled to open it in person. So this isn't just about putting his name on a gallery wall. It's an opportunity to see the person behind the artwork, and perhaps understand a part of Johnny Depp that Hollywood never completely captured. Because Depp's art tells a different story. Movies require hundreds of people: directors, cinematographers, designers, actors, editors, studios. But painting can be much more personal. It's just the artist, the canvas, and whatever exists inside their imagination. And that's where this exhibition becomes fascinating, because some of Depp's artwork is connected to experiences and ideas that are deeply personal. One of the featured works is 5. According to Schloss Benrath, the piece reflects a particularly difficult period Depp experienced in 2021, incorporating a distinctive tally mark and imagery connected to a Dior Sauvage photoshoot. Another important figure is the mysterious Bunny Man. The exhibition organizers describe Bunny Man as a recurring dream figure experienced independently by Depp and his son Jack, which later developed into a recurring part of Depp's artistic universe. And suddenly, this becomes much more than a story about a famous actor selling paintings. It's about how Johnny Depp processes ideas through art, his imagination, his memories, his emotions, and the strange characters that appear inside his creative world. That's what makes his transition into the art world so interesting. He isn't simply trying another celebrity side business. He's opening a creative door that has apparently been there for much of his life. And now, that door, Johnny Depp's art, isn't simply another celebrity trying something new. There is a much more personal story behind it. For years, Depp kept his artwork largely within private circles. According to Schloss Benrath, it wasn't until 2022 that he decided to present his work publicly. His debut collection, Friends and Heroes, reportedly sold out within hours. That moment changed how people viewed him. Suddenly, Johnny Depp wasn't only the actor audiences had watched for decades. He was also an artist with his own visual language. And perhaps the most interesting thing about that language is how personal some of the work can be. Take 5. The work is connected to a difficult period in Depp's life in 2021. According to the official Benrath exhibition information, the artwork incorporates a distinctive tally mark and is based on an image from a Dior Sauvage campaign photoshoot. Depp used the motif as a tribute to Dior and its loyalty during what he described as one of the darkest periods of his life. That tells us something important about the way Depp approaches art. He isn't necessarily painting completely separate fictional worlds. Sometimes, he's taking something that already exists in his life and transforming it into an image, a memory, a symbol, a feeling. That's very different from simply painting because you're famous. Then there's Bunny Man. And this may be one of the most unusual parts of Depp's artistic world. According to Schloss Benrath, Bunny Man is based on a recurring dream figure that Depp and his son Jack reportedly experienced independently. The character eventually became a recurring figure within Depp's artistic universe. Think about that for a moment. A mysterious figure appears in dreams. It becomes part of an artist's imagination, and eventually, it becomes a recurring visual character. That's the kind of story that makes Depp's art interesting even to people who aren't necessarily fans of his movies. Because you're getting a glimpse into the imagination behind the celebrity. And that's perhaps the biggest reason his art career is growing. People aren't simply curious because the paintings were created by Johnny Depp. They're curious because the artwork gives them another way to understand the person behind the famous roles. In movies, Depp transforms himself into characters. In music, he expresses himself through sound. But in painting, he can put something directly onto the canvas. No character required. No dialogue. No director. Just his interpretation. And that makes his current art chapter particularly fascinating. Because while Hollywood has spent decades showing audiences Johnny Depp the actor, the art world is beginning to introduce audiences to Johnny Depp the visual artist. And now that world is moving into one of Germany's most historic settings, Schloss Benrath. From August 30th through September 27th, 2026, visitors will be able to see the art of Johnny Depp in Dusseldorf, with original artworks and selected editions on display. And the timing couldn't be more interesting, because just 2 days earlier, Depp is scheduled to perform with Hollywood Vampires in Cologne. So within the same weekend, Johnny Depp's music and visual art will both be in the spotlight in Germany. That's a remarkable snapshot of where his career stands today. Actor, musician, artist. 3 different creative worlds. And Johnny Depp is moving between all 3. But there's still one question. Is this simply another chapter in Johnny Depp's career? Or are we watching him gradually redefine? For most of his career, Johnny Depp was known for transformation. He could become almost anyone. A strange pirate, a mysterious barber, a quiet outsider, a quirky chocolatier. But behind those characters was always another side of Depp, the creator. And that creative side is becoming increasingly visible in 2026. Look at the different worlds Depp is currently moving through. He's acting. He's performing music with Hollywood Vampires. He's working with major fashion and entertainment brands. And now, his visual art is becoming a much larger part of his public career. That combination is important, because Depp's career has never followed the traditional Hollywood formula. Many actors build their entire careers around acting. Depp has consistently explored other forms of expression. Music was there before his Hollywood fame. Art has been part of his personal life for years. And acting became the platform that made him internationally famous. Now those 3 worlds are increasingly coming together. And perhaps that's why his art career feels so natural. It's not something that suddenly appeared in 2026. It's something that was already there. The difference is that audiences are finally getting to see it. His 2022 Friends and Heroes collection demonstrated that there was serious public interest in Depp's artwork. Schloss Benrath says the collection sold out worldwide within hours. That kind of response can change an artist's confidence. It tells you that people aren't only interested in the celebrity, they're interested in the work. And that distinction matters. Because if people were buying the artwork purely because Johnny Depp's name was attached to it, the interest could disappear quickly. But the fact that his work has continued appearing in exhibitions suggests there is an audience willing to follow the artistic journey itself. And that's exactly what makes the art of Johnny Depp interesting. This isn't simply a collection of movie memorabilia. The exhibition focuses on Depp's artwork and the visual ideas that have developed through his creative life. And the location makes it even more striking. Schloss Benrath isn't an ordinary modern gallery. It's a historic palace in Dusseldorf. So Depp's contemporary artwork is being presented inside a completely different historical environment. Old architecture, new art, classic surroundings, a modern celebrity artist. It's an unusual combination. And perhaps that's appropriate for Johnny Depp, because his career has always been built around unusual combinations. Hollywood and rock music, mainstream movies and unconventional characters, celebrity and privacy, fame and artistic experimentation. And now, film, and fine art. But there is something else worth remembering. Being famous doesn't automatically make someone an artist. And being an artist doesn't automatically mean every piece of work will connect with audiences. That's why Depp's art journey should be judged on the artwork itself, not simply on his movie career, not simply on his celebrity, and not simply on the curiosity surrounding his personal life. The interesting question is, what does Johnny Depp have to say as an artist? What does he see? What inspires him? Why does he return to certain images? And why do certain symbols appear repeatedly? Those questions are much more interesting than simply asking how much a painting costs, because they take us into the creative process. And that's something Depp has always been interested in. Whether he's creating a character for a film, playing guitar on stage, or working on a painting, he's experimenting with identity. He's taking ideas and turning them into something visual, physical, or emotional. And that may explain why his art career. There is something unusual about Johnny Depp's career in 2026. He's not simply returning to one thing. He's expanding in several directions at the same time. On the big screen, audiences are watching a completely different side of him through Ebenezer Scrooge. On stage, he's performing with Hollywood vampires. And in galleries, his paintings are becoming increasingly visible. That's why calling this simply a Hollywood comeback doesn't quite capture what's happening. This is something broader. It's a creative comeback, and his art may be one of the most personal parts of it. When an actor plays a character, there are always other people involved. A director has a vision. A screenwriter creates the dialogue. Costume designers create the appearance. Editors shape the final performance. But when Depp creates a painting, the process becomes much more private. The decisions are his. The image is his. The interpretation is his. And perhaps that's why art has such a different place in his career. It gives him control. It gives him space. And it gives him another way to communicate without having to become somebody else. That's especially interesting for an actor whose career has been defined by transformation. Johnny Depp became famous by disappearing into unusual characters. But painting allows him to do the opposite. Instead of becoming someone else, he can reveal something about himself. That's one reason the Benrath exhibition deserves attention. It's not just another celebrity event. It's another step in making Depp's visual work part of his public creative identity. And the timing is almost perfect, because his audience is already seeing him in multiple forms. They can watch him perform. They can listen to him play guitar. They can see him act. And now, they can walk into an exhibition and look at his artwork. That's a completely different relationship between an artist and an audience. A movie lasts a couple of hours. A concert lasts an evening. But a painting can stay with someone for years. It can be interpreted differently by every person who looks at it. And that's what makes visual art so powerful. Maybe Depp understands that. Maybe that's why he's continuing to explore it. Or maybe he's simply doing what he's always done, following whatever creative idea interests him. We shouldn't pretend to know exactly what's happening inside his mind, but we can look at the pattern. And the pattern is clear. Johnny Depp continues to move toward projects that allow him to express different sides of himself. That's what makes his current career so interesting. He isn't trying to fit into one box. He's not just an actor. He's not just a musician. And he's not suddenly trying to reinvent himself as a traditional fine artist. He's becoming something much harder to categorize. A multidisciplinary creator. And perhaps that's exactly where he has always belonged. After all, the Johnny Depp audiences remember most was never the conventional Hollywood star. It was the unpredictable one. The artist who chose unusual characters. The musician who never completely abandoned the guitar. The person who kept exploring different forms of expression. And now, that same instinct is taking him deeper into the art world. The exhibition at Schloss Benrath may only run for a limited time, but the larger story could last much longer. Because if Johnny Depp continues exhibiting his artwork, if he continues creating, and if audiences continue responding to it, then this may be the beginning of a much larger chapter. Not just another celebrity project, but a lasting part of his artistic identity. And that's why Johnny Depp's art world may only be getting started. So what happens after the Art of Johnny Depp exhibition? That may be the most interesting question of all, because an exhibition can be a single event, but an artistic career is something much bigger. And Johnny Depp now has an opportunity to turn his interest in art into a lasting part of his creative identity. We've already seen that audiences are interested. His earlier Friends and Heroes collection generated enormous attention. His work has continued to appear publicly. And now his art is being presented at Schloss Benrath in Dusseldorf from August 30th through September 27th, 2026. That's not a tiny experiment anymore. It's a growing artistic presence. And perhaps the next step could be even more interesting. More exhibitions, new collections, different themes, more experimentation. Maybe even artwork inspired by the other creative worlds Depp has experienced. His films, his music, his travels, his memories, his characters. There are countless possibilities. But the most exciting possibility isn't necessarily commercial success. It's artistic freedom. Johnny Depp has spent decades being recognized everywhere he goes. That kind of fame can become limiting. People already have an image of who you are. They expect you to behave a certain way. They expect you to make certain movies. They expect you to repeat the things that worked before. Art offers a way around those expectations. A blank canvas doesn't care who Johnny Depp is. It doesn't care how many movies he's made. It doesn't care how famous he is. The only question is, what does he want to create? And perhaps that's why this chapter feels so personal. Because Johnny Depp's art doesn't have to compete with his acting career. It can exist beside it. The same person can create a character on Monday, play guitar on Tuesday, and work on a painting on Wednesday. There doesn't have to be one definition. And that may be the biggest change in Depp's career. For years, Hollywood audiences tried to define him. Now, he seems increasingly comfortable defining himself. And that is why 2026 could become an important year. Not because Johnny Depp is trying to recreate the past, but because he's building something that looks different from the past. The actor is still there. The musician is still there. And now, the visual artist is stepping further into the spotlight. Johnny Depp became famous by becoming other people. But perhaps his most interesting chapter is the one where he doesn't have to become anyone else. He can simply create. That's what makes his art journey so fascinating. For decades, audiences watched him disappear into characters. They saw Jack Sparrow. They saw Edward Scissorhands. They saw Sweeney Todd. They saw countless other personalities. But paintings offer something different. They allow us to see the imagination behind the performances, the symbols, the ideas, the memories, the strange images, the emotions, and the things that may not fit neatly into a Hollywood script. That's why The Art of Johnny Depp is more than an exhibition title. It represents another side of an artist who has spent most of his life being known for something else. And now, that side is getting harder to ignore. From the success of his earlier art collections, to his growing exhibition presence, to the upcoming presentation at Schloss Benrath, the direction is becoming clear. Johnny Depp's creative world is expanding, and perhaps that's the real story. This isn't necessarily about leaving Hollywood behind. It's about going beyond Hollywood, beyond acting, beyond music, beyond the expectations that come with being one of the world's most recognizable actors. Because Johnny Depp has always been at his most interesting when he refuses to fit neatly into one category. And now, he's showing the world that the canvas can be another stage. A different kind of stage. One without cameras, without scripts, without characters. Just an artist. And his imagination. So when people ask what Johnny Depp's next chapter looks like, maybe the answer isn't another movie. Maybe it's a painting. Maybe it's a guitar. Maybe it's a character. Or maybe it's all of them. Because the most interesting thing about Johnny Depp in 2026 isn't simply that he's making a comeback. It's that he's continuing to discover how many different ways he can create. And his art world may only be getting bigger.